This is Ace Coach.
Welcome to the show, Hayley. It's an absolute pleasure having you on today.
Thank you for having me. This is exciting.
I'm excited to have you on because we're going to be talking about one of my favorite topics, actually, because I actually started off around this area before moving over to where I'm at now, which is branding. Right. I love branding.
How did I not know this? This is so exciting.
I love it. Like it's something I was so into. I used to learn about personal branding, and there's this book I read. I forget the name, but they talk about the 7 things you need to create a brand.
Building a story brand. That one with Donald Miller.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
Yeah, I need to remember the name, but you talk about having your origin story, your enemies, stuff like that, and all that.
Yeah, building a brand story. It's called, and it's brilliant. Yeah. Oh, there you go. Look, you could I could interview you.
But no, we're going to be interviewing you today. Yeah? You're going to be giving us your take on it. And before we kick off, I always like to let my guests introduce themselves because you will do a way better job at it than me. So could you tell us a little bit more about who you are and what you do?
Yes, I will. So I am Hayley Appleby Burtt, and I run a design and branding agency called Orange Lamb, which is a bit of a funky name. We can go into that later. Effectively, I do everything from brand strategy, creating that lovely visual design, website, social assets, the lot. And what I really love is just finding people's, those like real genius like parts of a business or a person and bringing it all to life, getting all those ideas out their head, giving them clarity and just giving them the confidence to go and make an impact through either their business or their personal brand or both.
Really cool. And what kind of clients do you typically work with?
So I work with a mixture. So I do work with clients who are what I call more the sort of bricks and mortar businesses, like the opticians on the high street. But the people that I work with predominantly are people in the kind of coaching space, the expert space. They're kind of the ones that are, constantly creating new services. Maybe they've got digital products and courses. So I work with a real range. I don't work with a specific sector. I work with, I've got tutoring businesses. I've got, coaches. I've got tech platforms, a mixture. Because for me, and we might come into this, when it comes to branding, the key principles are the same no matter who you are, what you do. Does that make sense? So I work with a mixture of companies and people.
I love it. And people don't realize how important branding is. They think it's, sometimes they think it's just the logo and the visual side of things. But
I have that all the time. It's like, I haven't got much money. Could you just create me a logo? And I'm like, if only it was just that. If only that was the important part. Yeah. I mean, it's part of it, sure. Yeah. But absolutely not the be all and end all is your logo, which we can come on to.
I always like to know, though, since there are so many branding agencies out there, how do you differentiate yourself from, the competition?
Yeah. So I always think this, and this is where, like your experience as well with like personal branding comes in. And a lot of people that I work with, I would say a big chunk are in those kind of infancy years of setting up their business. And what they don't understand is that they are the business. Does that make sense? And they need to sort of be front and center because ultimately that's how we build connection, right? Yes. So one thing I would say simply to make you different is that there is only one you, right? It's like, Xavier, there's only one you, right? There's only one me. And some people will totally resonate with me and some people won't. That's life. But how I see it is I have my vision, my mission. I have my set of values, how I show up visibly. Like if people connect with me, number one, that makes me stand out, right? And number two, it comes down to messaging and it's that consistency. Like I know where I'm different in that I'm a bit of a hybrid. So I don't just do design, I do strategy as well. And I'm kind of in it with people. So because my background, I can tell you, I'm actually completely self-taught, right? So I don't come from a high, let's say, so I didn't go to university and get educated. I've literally always worked in and around branding, and everything I've learned, I've taught myself. I've done courses, all this kind of stuff. So I used to think when I first started out, oh, is that a bit of a disadvantage? Because, maybe I haven't got this tech skill or that. But what I realised along the way is actually it was a massive gain, because I understand business and I understand what it takes to build the foundations out. Like you say, it's not just the logo. It's what is the purpose? Who are you showing up for? Who's that audience? I get people. I've got experience in marketing. I've done a bit of PR before. So it's like I can be this almost like hybrid of really helping people get clear on strategy, getting them really happy with like the visual side of their brand, get really clear on the tone of voice, who they're showing up for, and also being by people's side to help them then show up consistently. So I'm like this little like confidence booster in their pocket.
It makes a lot of sense. And branding, as we're speaking, I'm thinking branding, like what you do could be more like a coaching kind of thing, because it's not a one-time thing, like you were saying, especially with coaches, which they are the business. It's not something that you do and just get right out of the gate. You need somebody to kind of guide you through and
100%.
Make sure you're consistent there. Very, very interesting. So I'm guessing, do you when you work with clients, do you just work with them on a project-based kind of thing, or are you there with them all through?
So it really depends.
Okay.
So because I like to call myself a boutique agency, even though I have like set products and set offers, etc., I will work to what my clients need. So for some people, I've been there where I've worked with them for like a year, helping them ongoing after we've created the brand, and the website and all of that kind of stuff. I've been by their side to help them almost like get it out there. So being visible on social media and helping them with, a content strategy and graphics and that kind of stuff. It kind of depends what people need. Some people, I do the main project, as in, what I call like the getting all the foundations back to, a point where they're happy with it. So whether it's the website, the visuals, the message, and sometimes then they go off and then they come back. I'm kind of like, what do I say to my clients? Instead of always just charging a retainer necessarily, some people need that. It's almost like my door's always open, and when they need me, they come back. So as I say, the space that I'm in, a lot of people might be running events, or do you know what I mean? Hosting webinars or putting a new offer. So they're constantly coming back, asking me to design more stuff. And I love that.
Makes sense. And you're spot on, especially with coaches and experts like that. They're always coming up with new stuff, like you said. It might be a new course, a new webinar, stuff like that. Oh yeah, I see how that. All right, you talk about creating the brand. This is where things can go very left, as we've talked about. Some people might think. I used to think branding was all about the logo myself. Well, so what does brand mean to you from your professional's point of view?
Yeah. So when I talk about branding, and another thing to cover is like people who run a business say, well, I'm a business. I'm not a brand, right? Or I don't have a personal brand. So a few things. Some people, you might just grow a business and you're not the face of the brand, but the world's changing. Okay. People buy from people. They want to have a connection with you. So that's why suddenly even big companies are using like people, employees to almost like use their personal brands to promote the company. So I think that's a really important thing. When it comes to a business is almost like the service you offer, like what you do. And then if I was to say a brand is almost like the heart of that, it's like, why do you do it? What is the purpose? Who is it for? And the kind of the visual and the messaging, all that kind of stuff. Because, like we say, there's lots of people that do the same thing in any industry, but the brand is the part that kind of differentiates you. So this is what I would say makes up the key elements of a brand. So your messaging, okay? So this is such an important thing. A message is more than just like, I'm just going to sit down and just quickly write something for social media. I mean, what is the core message? Because even if you've got loads of different services, what I like to say to people is that your overarching message, you should stand for something, like something you believe in, right? Okay. So that it's not that, I'm selling this service, I've got to put this hat on. And now I'm selling this service, I've got to put this hat on, because really the umbrella above it is who you are, what you stand for, your values, and then your services, they might be for a slightly different person, but it's not completely changing your messaging. So getting that tone of voice. So what is it you stand for? So what is that mission behind, what gets you out of bed to do what you do every day, right? And then the vision, what is the bigger impact? Okay. What is it you're actually like? What's the bigger goal here? What impact do you want to make on people? And then we're looking at things like obviously your company values, which some people think it's just like you grab a couple of words off the internet, but really think about it. You know, like for me, one of mine is fun, and people are like, really? I'm like, yeah, I want it to be fun. Like when I work with clients who are maybe like scared of tech, the thought of a website like horrifies them. They know what they want, but they can't articulate. It's like, let's make it fun. I'm going to listen. Don't worry, I've got you. You know what I mean? It's a fun, but like having that set of guiding principles, because that's another thing that will differentiate you, and it might mean that someone chooses your brand over someone else. So it's getting all of those core fundamentals, the tone of voice, and thinking about your audience. This is the key. So many people are really good at telling people what they do, and you need to take a step back because you're not the one buying it, okay? It's your clients. How are you going to connect with them? And we have to connect with people emotionally. So one thing I do when I work with people is I really want to understand who it is they're trying to help. Like, who are those people? What are their challenges? What are the agitations those people are going through? And how is your service or product going to transform that? How's that going to like create success for them? You know, so this is it. This is all part of it. So when I'm working with people and they come to me and they're like, yeah, I just want a logo, which is always a red flag. The first thing I'll be like, okay, well, do you actually have like a brand strategy? Do you understand? Like if I said to you, like, what's your mission? Who are you trying to appeal to, etc.? Could you answer these? And if they say no, I say, well, the first thing we need to do is that. Because without that vision, what's the point? I could create you a logo, sure, but I mean, it's not going to get you anywhere. You don't know what you're doing with it, you know? So tone of voice, massive. Then the visual identity. So like the logo, the colours, the fonts, you know, the graphics, that is obviously a massive part of a brand because it's the thing that people instantly recognise. Yeah. So that's the part that makes you recognisable, okay? And it's the part that, yeah, it's the fun part, isn't it? People look at it and go, oh, I love it so much. And it's the bit that makes them feel confident. And then it's about using that so that everywhere someone finds you, that's the same. It's building that. And then the next thing, once you've got that correct, and then you've got, you know, your message and your tone of voice, is thinking about how are you going to be visible. So whether that's a website, whether that's a sales page, whether that's, I don't know, like just being on social media, and keeping the tone of voice and the visual side consistent, showing up, and then start building that brand identity. So yeah, for me, like you said earlier, and I love that, like the biggest thing before even going there with any sort of design is getting really clear on that purpose and the tone of voice behind it.
I agree. Like for me, I 100%. I've met a lot of businesses that they're like they're not a brand. They don't need a brand. You know, that branding is set for bigger companies, stuff like that. But I truly believe that before you even launch your business or before you even create a product or anything, you should do a branding exercise first, and then that's cool. So somebody agrees with me.
Yeah, and I've actually got a free quiz on my website, orangelamb.co.uk, which takes people through looking at kind of 5 areas. So their message, the visuals, the website, their social media visibility, and then their conversions. So things like, have they got lead magnets? Have they got a way of attracting people? It's a really good tool for just making people understand that, you know, there's all these different areas of their business that they need to look at, which is in turn helping their brand. And the thing is, when people say, well, I don't need a brand, it's like your brand is your reputation. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, even if you forget about like all of the stuff that we're talking about and you just think of it, it's like, it's what people say about you when you're not in the room. That's your brand. You know, and like when I work with people, like, your brand is every touch point. So even that first email or the quote you send someone or how you onboard a client, you know, that to me is all part of your brand. So any business that says they don't have a brand, they absolutely do. And if they think that, then they need to go and work with a brand strategist for sure.
I didn't agree, man. You make a very massive point there, because of people, I didn't even think about that, but even your communications with your clients, your email, you know, stuff like that, that's all part of your brand as well.
Absolutely. And the tone of voice, like, you know, every time you open an email, like what you're saying, what you're, do you know what I mean? How you're communicating, it's that's all part of it. And don't get me wrong, right? I'm also a massive believer that you know, sometimes when people have an idea, maybe it's a hobby that they're turning into a business or whatever, you know, like, and sometimes people don't have the money to go and invest in, you know, a branding expert. But, you know, I would also say there's different people for every level you're at. Does that make sense as well? Like, I have like free tools, you know, I might be too expensive for some people, but then for others, you know, it's fine. Go and do some research and find people. But there are so many kind of tools, and it's almost just understanding, I think, that before you go headfirst into this new venture, just taking that step back and going, right, let me just like think about this. Like, why am I doing this? What is the actual aim here? And who is it I'm trying to appeal to? Like, who would I love to work with? And that going kind of reverse engineer it, you know, and I get it. Sometimes you have to make your own logo or, you know, put it all together yourself first. It is what it is, but it's about making it consistent. Okay, so if you know what you're doing and then you create like a little brand identity, it's like keeping that going. Don't just keep changing it every day, because that's when you lose that kind of memorability.
I agree. Consistency is a big part of branding and having that stickiness as well. Like I used to study Apple. Apple used to be one of my reference companies. Like, you know, when they used to have, they're not so much now, but you remember the days where they used to have this cult like following, and, you know, people used to queue up to wait for the, you know, they had all these their rituals and stuff like that. You know, I guess that's what branding does. It kind of ties you, like, which will be my next question, that how do you connect with your potential clients? But how can your brand help you connect with clients and make clients want to work with you? What's some things that you recommend coaches do?
So, okay, so let's look at coaches. And the thing is there, like you've just said, like Apple. So Apple is an experience, right? From the packaging, from how you unbox it, from going into the store. Do you know what I mean? They have created like an incredible brand. Yeah. But yes, obviously Apple are Apple and they've got loads of money. But that same principles applies, doesn't it? Like if you become in your space someone that does such a great job that people are going to go and recommend you, you're growing. That's like growing your brand reputation. Do you know what I mean? And I'd say, like, if you had coaches, for example, just say you had like two coaches and they're effectively coaching the same thing. Do you know what I mean? But there will be a difference between them. And one exercise I love to do with people is, it's almost like their own like career journey. So it's almost like I go, when I sit down with people and they think I'm a bit mad, I'm like, right, tell me about your life. And they're like, what? I went, yeah, I want your whole life. And they laugh. And I went, well, not your whole life, but tell me about, like, how are you here today? Like, what's the stepping stones? And what's amazing is they don't even see all the experiences they've gone through to get to why they're suddenly now a coach, right? Maybe it's, they worked in an office and someone did something and they were like, oh my God, that is horrific. I would never do that. Or do you know what I mean? It could be a positive experience they've had and they think, oh, one day I want to do that. It's like taking all of that life journey, business journey, career journey and going, what are the points that made me want to do this? And then almost like digging deeper and going, why am I so unique? Which people hate because it's like talking about themselves. But what makes me unique? And it's all that experience. It's all of that you're bringing to the table. And everyone will have something completely unique to them. So that's where that human connection comes in, because you can then pull from that history, pull from that story and connect with people that you're trying to sort of like help, because you've probably got something in common with them. So I think that's a massive thing of like differentiating yourself. And then again, it's like flipping it and thinking about that person that you're trying to attract and putting yourself in their shoes. So like, what is, you know, their struggles, right? You know their struggles. That's why you created this product, to help them. So talk to those struggles. Yeah. Don't just sit there saying, I'm a coach, you can work with me for an hour. This is what I'm going to do. This is what you get. You're going to get 30 minutes on Zoom. Then I'm going to send you, like, that's just telling me what you do. There's no emotional connection, right? But if you say, I'm going to give you peace of mind and clarity so that you can just walk into that job and feel like you own it, right? Like, it's just you're talking differently. You're talking to that aspirations. Do you know what I mean? So it sounds like can sound quite basic, but so many people aren't doing it. So it's connecting to your own personal story and pulling from that all of those amazing, unique selling points that make you and what has kind of crafted you to become the coach that you're going to be. And then putting yourself in your client's position to think about, what their challenges are. So like talk to them, tell them how you're going to take them on this journey with them and guide them.
I really love that. I love that, like, especially the idea of speaking to their challenges is very, very, that's powerful stuff, because of when you speak to that, I can see how that, builds that connection with you, that be like, this guy really understands me and he understands what I'm going through. And this is why I believe branding should be the first thing you do before you do anything product marketing, especially because from this now, you could now create a content calendar with topics around those challenges that you're talking 100%. About. Very, very 100%. Interesting.
And that's why I love it as well, because then you go to your website and then that whole messaging that you've gone through, that helps on your website, because you start telling people like, hey, this is what I do. I know where you're at. I've been there. I feel your pain, but this is how we can help you. Look, this is what we do. So it's like taking people on an emotional journey with you.
It's so true. This is why I when I used to study branding, I was like, well, I was so into it. Like, it's such a powerful concept, such a powerful thing. When done right, you can literally create your own cult around you.
And this is the thing that I say to people, and that's where like personal branding comes in massively. You look at someone like Stephen Bartlett, he's got a huge following. His personal brand, like his personal social media, has got so many more followers than say his business pages, because people connect to people. So that's what I say. It's like when you're like starting out, especially as a coach, obviously, they're the ones doing the work, right? They're the coach. So they are the face. So some people are a bit scared. But if you actually think about it, like, it's such a powerful situation, because people can connect with you, and then in turn you can help kind of grow your business, right? So you use your personal brand to almost like help grow your business. And then on the flip side, what some people are doing now, maybe they've built a business under the radar, it's very successful, and now they're kind of stepping out and going, oh, hello, this is my personal brand. I built this amazing company over here. So then they can start leveraging opportunities already, because they've already got this established business. Do you see what I mean? So personal branding's got such a massive part to play, whether you're starting out or whether you're already, got a really successful business. And I think it's like, you hear the word authentic, it is just about showing up as like your authentic self. And how nice is that as well, if like you can turn up as you and people connect to you and they like you and they want to work with you.
That's perfectly. I was going to ask, in terms of a differentiation, I mean, you've touched a lot about it in terms of being how coaches can differentiate themselves, and one of those things is by being authentic. But that's one of the most difficult things to do, like, especially when you're in front of the camera, like for the first time people like, trying to be, you I don't know, for some reason you try to act, maybe it's just me anyway, but it took me a while to really just be cool with being myself in camera, Is this something you find? And are there any things that you recommend people can do to be their authentic selves online?
So there's no quick fix to this. And the truth is, so many people just hate being on camera. So like when we're talking now and you're asking me questions, I'm absolutely fine. Yeah. And then if I'm recording like, say like a video where I've got like a bit of a script, oh my God, it's just like I sound so scripted and I'm like, oh my God. And it's like I've got quite a natural like funny sense of humour. Yeah. But it doesn't always come out. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So I think sometimes we just have to do the hard stuff. Like sometimes it's almost going, you're just going to turn the camera on and do a live video or do an Instagram. And I think for me, for people that I work with who aren't confident in being like online and socials, the thing we almost put a structure together and it becomes quite rigid in a way of like, right, what are you promoting? Let's put a carousel out this day. This day you're going to do a video, like a personal piece to camera. And it's almost like they just force themselves to do it. And at first they hate it and they critique everything and, oh my God, it was so awful. And no. Do you know what I mean? But then now what I find amazing, I've got clients now look at, I'm like, oh my God, they're like a content machine. and they're showing up and they don't even think about it. I think we're all very critical of ourselves. So I think one way to get around it would be to come up, like say, take all that messaging, those challenges, etc., and come up with a bit of a content plan. So think about, even in the basics, so maybe one day a week you're going to do an educational post, right? And that could be a carousel, or it could be you talking to camera, do you know what I mean? Or one day a week you're going to do something that's a bit more off the cuff and personal, and almost just say, right, it's going to be a video, and just force yourself to do it. There isn't any quick fix. You can, I've done it where I've done content days where I've had like a professional videographer sit with me and they've asked questions, and, I've done that. But again, it's a different feel to when I'm just like showing up being like, hey, you know what I mean? Off the cuff. I think that's probably where you can be more like authentic. Does that make sense? Whereas like polished stuff is a bit more polished, maybe a bit more scripted. Yeah, I think just put in a bit of a content plan, and you just got to suck it up and do it, and you'll hate it, but eventually you'll just do it.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. This is why I love podcasting, because I just sit here and ask the questions, and my guests do everything.
I do like to talk.
There you go. It makes my life easier, because 100%. Because I used to record YouTube videos. I still do every now and then, and it takes a while to, because when you're spot on, when you create something that you're not happy with, there's so many videos I didn't put out initially. This podcast, my first few episodes, I never published them. It took me a long time to be like, yeah. So yeah, 100%. It's one of those things you're just gonna, get rid. Yeah.
Do you know what? It's different as well, because I suppose if you're launching like a YouTube channel, right? Sometimes that is a bit different, because maybe you want it to have like a graphic that comes up and it's a bit more polished. Like I do get that, like where you can be a bit more like, critique. Yeah. So I do understand that. But I think it's almost like just getting used to just turning the camera on and doing a reel and not overthinking it, because I think we do all overthink it, but actually by the time you've overthought it, right, you could have probably posted about 10 videos. I do it myself, don't get me wrong, I'm so good at telling everyone else what to do, and I myself sometimes I think, oh god, I need to record that video, maybe like, I haven't done my hair today or this, I'll do it tomorrow, and then it gets to another day and I'm like, do you know what, like I should have just done it, because people can now almost like, you can almost see the difference between like just an off the cuff video to the polished, and actually sometimes people really connect more with the ones that aren't overly polished.
Sure. It's just funny how that happens. It happens a lot actually with that. There's more of that than even the polished one. I mean, look at like TikTok. TikTok is literally just people on their phones.
TikTok, you don't like. My friend started a TikTok just because she thought for a laugh. And the things she puts on, they make me laugh so much. She just gets these like little videos and puts like comedy things together. But this is my point. It's like, people just want to consume you and like that realness. Yeah. And you'll resonate with this. Like I could have worked on like a brand and they've just launched it, and I do this beautiful carousel and I'm showing everyone what I've done. And it's like tumbleweed, like nothing. Yeah. And then the next day I could be like, I don't know, I'm at the hairdresser's, or I'm just enjoying a cup of tea in the woods. Like there's nothing. And everyone's like, oh, I love this. I'm in the woods. Like, do you know what I mean? I'm on a walk too or something. And it's like, really? So I spent all that time creating this beautiful graphic and I get nothing. But then what happens is I'll get on a sales call and someone will be like, I love that carousel you put out the other day of that brand you did. And I just knew I had to talk to you. And it's like, this is it, right? The silent lurkers. And I say this to people, don't be afraid, like have a content structure. Like, even like we're saying now, like show up and do a video, great. But also like layering it up. So still have that educational carousel, still have that documenting behind the scenes, still have that sharing case studies and testimonials, because it's like layering it up. Yeah, we're educating, we're inspiring, we're promoting, we're doing it all. Because then even the silent lurkers in the background, they might be looking at that carousel. They might look at that promo graphic where you actually tell people what you're doing and how someone can work with you, and they might convert, but they might not be the one that are engaging on your feed and liking your imagery.
That is so true. So true about the silent lurkers. They watch all your content, but they will never engage with it until they're ready to engage with it. Yeah.
Awesome. It's so true.
Awesome.
It's so true.
Awesome. All right. As we wrap up now, what are 3 things, if you could leave us with 3 things or 3 tips that a coach that maybe watching this and is thinking, you know what, I need to grow my brand, or I need to do more about my brand. What are 3 things that you'd recommend that they do?
So number 1, I'm going to go kind of back over what we said. So number 1 is, are they truly connecting to themselves? Are they putting themselves in the best light? So reconnect with that personal journey story. What are their unique selling points, and how are they putting themselves out there to be different from other people in their market? Okay, so that's number 1. Number 2 is to really think about the transformations that they are taking their clients on and sharing those as stories. So, you know, stop telling people just what you do and how you do it, and show them the case studies, show them the transformations, like story tell. How we got this person from here to here, how we helped this person achieve this. Do you know what I mean? People want to connect with that. And number 3, you know, look at your visibility. How are you showing up? You know, and we're talking about social media because, you know, most people are on social media, right? It's free. You can show up. Like, if you're not visible, people aren't going to know about you. How can you get visible? So look at that, whether that's going on social media. And it could be that you just pick one platform. You might say LinkedIn's where I'm going to find my people. So I'm going to post on LinkedIn and say I'm going to post twice a week or 3 times a week, like whatever you can do, and come up with a consistent plan. Yeah. Even if you get a month and go, right, I'm going to post 3 days a week. That day I'm going to do an educational post. That day I'm going to do like a testimonial. That day I'm going to do a behind the scenes, like personal video. Do you know what I mean? Like, really block it out. So visibility. Do you need to be online more? Looking at like your website. Do people actually, can they like really get what you do? Does it make sense? Can people connect with you? So like, are you visible? Are you making it easy for people to connect with you and work with you?
Love it. And those are powerful, powerful stuff. I suspect if you could do those 3 things, man, you could have a really, really awesome brand just by doing those 3 things.
Yeah.
Really awesome, Hayley. Is there any, I mean, you talked about the quiz, but is there any other resource or anything that you could share with us that you have that will help?
So yeah, if people do the quiz, they do get invited to book a free brand audit where I actually do like an actual inspection in a good way of like their website and their socials, and give some free top tips of things that they can change. So that's definitely something. So if they head over to my website, which is orangelamb.co.uk, at the top, you'll see the brand quiz. And then, like I say, they're invited for a brand audit, which is total fresh pair of eyes on your brand, an expert who's going to say to you, right, here's some simple things that you could be changing to really up level that brand.
That's awesome, actually. That's a very, very awesome, valuable resource that I think everybody should go check out. And yeah, we're going to include the links to all of that in the show notes.
Thank
you
so much.
Awesome. And where, besides that, where can if they were also wanted to connect with you on LinkedIn?
So the best way to connect with me is my personal. So it's Hayley Appleby Burtt, which is a double barrel name. So they can follow me on LinkedIn. I'm also on Instagram. So yeah, Hayley Appleby Burtt, and they can connect with me there. And pop me a DM.
Awesome. And we're going to leave all of that in the show notes. Once again, Hayley, this has been an awesome chat. I've totally enjoyed myself. Thank you.
It's flown by, hasn't it?
It has.
I love it. Thank you so much for inviting me. I've really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming on.